Well, I will say that day three of the basketball tournament for the ACC women's basketball was definitely something that was highly desired. And I just want to point out that your girl is getting better with basketball. If you have been around for a while, then you know that I started off with football. Football is what I know, bread and butter, which is what a lot of people know. In basketball, I kind of like ease my way into it. I know hockey better than I know basketball. So for me to be at these tournaments to now understand what I'm seeing, what I'm watching, how to box score, all those things to bring you this recap, I feel like I've come a really long way. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who encouraged me to just keep going with basketball when I thought that I was never going to make it. Okay. I know that you guys are here for the recap, but a part of you being a part of the crew is that we talk a little bit about a little bit of everything. We do our recaps. We veer off, we come back, and all that. And that's what the video is longer. And that's why it's not a little short, because when it's a little short, I got 3 minutes to get it all out. Okay, but no, seriously. Welcome back. I guess I'm just gonna say it's a daily dose with Des because my recaps go under that umbrella, you know, pretty girls of sports. And as you know, I've been at the ACC women's basketball tournament, and today was the quarterfinals, and all the games so far have been just lights out. I think that each team brings their own strengths, and these things are very obvious, but some people that are watching it don't really keep up with basketball, or maybe not keep up with women's basketball or some of these teams. So that's why I'm going to recap it. If you do keep up, you can feel free to fast forward. Don't leave the video, but you can fast forward because I'm talking about it just a little bit. Okay. So obviously all these teams bring their own vibes and personalities and structure to the court, but it's really, really good to see, especially when it's tournament time, because it's March. And although it's not the big dance yet, this is the precursor to what we may see when it comes to the tournament time. And even often in tournament play, in the big tournament, people turn it up like 300 more notches, right? And there's always a school that makes it a little bit further than like most expected. So seeing this and keeping up with the tournament, the conference tournaments kinds of helped me understand and know what I'm looking at. And now when I'm making brackets and things, I can have a better understanding of these teams going into the big dance. A lot of people only tune in when it's March Madness and then are just like rooting for a random school. But if you know these programs and you've studied these programs or been around these programs and watched them play, then you say, okay, you know when they're having a good game, you know when they're playing normal. Like I can tell you what goes on with certain schools because I've watched and I've been a part of these programs for a while. And the ACC has been really well to me. And I've gotten to know a lot of these schools. Now I know the players, and I'm like, okay, she's averaging this and that. And I'm feeling really, really good about it when I'm watching the game. And now I'm more into it. I'm turning into a basketball fan. That's what it is. That's what it is. I've always been a supporter, but I'm turning into a real basketball fan. Okay. You've converted me. You did it. But no, so the tournament is really, really good. So we have 4 games again today. So you had Duke versus Clemson, Notre Dame versus NC State, Syracuse versus Louisville, and UNC versus Virginia Tech. The only school today that lost, and they were not supposed to lose as the higher seed, was NC State. I had a feeling that they were not going to win. I don't know. Something just told me that Notre Dame was going to win that game. Probably be based off of what I saw the previous night and how they just like started off, fast and fierce, which is my new vocabulary. That's how you know. If you read an article or you hear a clip and I don't say something about fast, fierce, or something like that, then it ain't me. It might be AI. I'm just saying. Okay. But everybody else kind of did what they were supposed to do. And I noticed some trends that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the standout players. I'm going to give you the scores, and then I'm going to give you my trends and what I think from each, just going into the semifinals, because now it's getting really real. This thing has been real, but now it's getting really real because we are down to 2 games. And then the championship game is on Sunday. So it happens also fast, but super duper competitive. I think the ACC has come such a long way with women's basketball. that is something that's like, wow, I cannot believe that so many programs are literally neck and neck. And yeah, there's a small gap in between the, and I don't say the worst team, but the team that's at the lowest between the team that's at the top. So like it's just it's a nice spread in between. And if you like basketball, you really like watching these games because these girls are really, really, really giving it all that they got. So the first game, Duke versus Clemson, Duke did win. They beat them 60-46. Clemson is still going to be in the big dance. That was secured, hopefully, allegedly. You know, things change every day around here. But when they beat Virginia, and they're likely going to be slated as the 10 seed. So although they did lose here, they get a chance to go back, to regroup, to get Mia Moore um, fully healthy. She's been playing lights out, but there's been rumors that she hasn't been fully healthy. So get her fully healthy. Get Rachel some resting time. You know, she was wearing a knee brace, and just give her some time to really regroup and gather themselves, and then figure out what they're going to do in terms of rebounding. Honestly, that's what it really is. That I feel like they just got to rebound better. They do, and I feel like they got to utilize Morgan Lee a little bit better, like a little bit more. And she's probably one of those developing players. I love Morgan Lee. I love when she gets in the game. I love seeing bigs and them getting in the paint and getting to the brim. I love that. And Morgan to me has been one of the girls that I really like watching. For whatever reason, she just grew on me. So I think utilizing her a little bit more. But I want to say Coach Poppy has done an amazing job and is doing an amazing job with him being in his second year within the ACC and really turning this team and getting to getting to the tournament. And I don't think that they really understand, or a lot of people understand how significant this is for this program. And just the fact that they've, you know, faced some adversity. A lot of times they've been said that they were undersized or they're just not tall enough or this and that. And they have still found a way. They are a amazing fourth quarter team because the first three quarters I'm against Duke, I honestly was like, oh gosh, they might be cooked. Plainly. Y'all know I'll talk to y'all plainly because when I try to think of other words, I end up saying things that I don't really mean to say. So I was like, oh gosh, my girls are getting cooked like ramen noodles, chair. And then they turned it around in the fourth quarter, although it was too little too late. They turned it around and they did try to fight back. They did not let Duke just have one on them. They didn't let Duke just walk all over them. They fought back. It was a hard fought win. So it's still a win-win because they get to go to the tournament and hopefully they have some good success when they get to the tournament because obviously that's what everybody wants is good success. And playing a team like Duke, they're the top seed, so they already knew what they were going to get into, and they reflected that in the post game once they beat Virginia. Moving on to Notre Dame and NC State, 81-63. To me, I did not see that score being like that. I thought the score was going to be much closer. I thought the game was going to be way better, but NC State was just cold. They started off cold, and I just feel like they never fully warmed up. They didn't fully look like the NC State that I have previously seen in other games. And I do want to shout out to the fan base, the Wolf Pack. The fans there are just some of the nicest people. They travel really, really well. I spoke to a lot of them, and I commended them for what they do, how they show up literally at almost like every single sport. They are there in droves for the Wolfpack. Like they genuinely love that or like love their school and love the students and they really rally behind them. And I think that's super duper important for any sport, but specifically in women's sports because showing up really matters. And I think a lot of the fan bases did really, really well with this tournament. I think it could have been a little bit better in some areas, in some instances, but the Wolfpack are definitely a different breed. And I love seeing their fan base. It's one of the fan bases that I actually genuinely enjoy. But NC State just didn't, they never put their foot on the gas. They never mashed the gas on that. You know the word. And I said it in my pregame, Notre Dame was going to come out and be fast. They have high energy. They want to win. They want to be the ACC champion. They want to go into the tournament at the highest stakes. They want to have the best seating. They want to be able to, be in contention to host the game. Like they want it. They missed it last year. They're hungry for it. They're the hungriest team, I feel, from all these teams that are going into the semifinals. The hungriest team. And I feel like they're playing probably some of their best basketball. Honestly, looking at some of the stats, they actually could be better. So if they can be better, I can only imagine what that team actually has underneath their belts, really, when everybody plays lights out. So to me, they're the hungriest team, and they showed up and they played just like it against that NC State team. Moving on, there was Syracuse and Louisville, and that was 87-61. To me, I'm going to start with Syracuse. Syracuse has the ACC Freshman of the Year, Uche. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I don't want to mess it up, but Uche. And I think she is going to be a supreme force to be reckoned with. If they just get a couple more key pieces around her, lights out. Syracuse is going to turn into a whole different program. They're already a whole different program. But if they get her some true help, and not to say that the girls around her aren't helping her, but I think if they get her maybe another force there, Syracuse is going to be more famous than the men at some point, with Uche leading the pack. She plays phenomenal. Getting to see her for 2 days straight. She is who she says she is, just like Hannah Hidalgo is who she says that she is, who she thinks that she is. She is. She is that. And each of these teams have their individual stars, and they're all like really dominant stars on their teams, and they are the engine to the team. They are the emotion of the team. They're the ones when they need the team to be put on their back, they strap it on and they do it. And I feel like Uche is going to be that for Syracuse. Also, I think that Syracuse so far has had the peppiest, the littest, the hypest band. They just understood the assignment every single way. The mascot is just phenomenal. You understand? Like, I could sit and watch them every single day. That's how good they were to me when it comes to being in it, when it comes to rooting for the team, when it comes to their energy, everything. They understand the assignment. And maybe because I don't know what's in Syracuse, maybe there's not a lot of stuff going on. So all they got to do is to study and learn and understand the assignments. Maybe that's what it is. But they literally, they were the best. They were the best to me. Now, I've seen all of them so far. Everybody that's moving on, we've already seen. Maybe they're going to step it up a little bit more in the semifinals and the championship game. Maybe they will. Syracuse won't be there. So now somebody else can, come and take the ranks. Notre Dame is right there, though, because they have the young lady dressed as a leprechaun. Super duper cute. Her energy is like through the roof. But the orange got it for me. They do. They got that. So I just, I had to give my little tidbits there. And then you had the last game of the night, UNC versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, like I said in my pregame, rallied back to beat Georgia Tech. It was a dogfight of a game, and it was super duper great. And it was looking like that at first with UNC. UNC left a lot of points on the board. I think that they took a while to get warmed up, which is what I thought. They were on a double bye, and they're lucky that they warmed up when they did, because at some point Virginia Tech was trying to get into the driver's seat and they were going to take off. And I was like, oh, Carolina's in some trouble. And then suddenly Carolina took a timeout, and then they came back, and they were Carolina. They were the Carolina that showed up being the number 3 seed. We understood why they were number 3 seed at that point. But their score was 85-68. And I was like, okay, this team is doing what needs to be done. Nyla Harris had a double-double. She is the engine to the team. She's the heart and soul of that team. She carries the team when she needs to. The other Nyla also is really great. She came off the bench and was doing great things. So UNC has a lot of weapons. I think that they just have to lock in. They got to just keep focused. And I think that you have to play. It's hard to say you got to play a full 40 minutes, but you only have 40 minutes. And some teams are better at rallying, within the late in the second, early in the third, and then they hold it. And that's kind of what UNC did. Some teams are rallying from the fourth, and some teams like Notre Dame are starting out hot and they want to take the ranks early and try to keep them that way. And they're not trying to go back and forth with you. They want to keep their lead and hold their lead to finish the game with that lead. Now, with me saying all that, I do want to say that to me, I feel that the most cohesive team is Louisville. Watching all of these teams play, to me, Louisville has the most cohesive team, and everybody eats on the team. Everybody understands their assignment and they do it well. Everybody has bought into the program and the plays. They know them. Like, their team camaraderie is like hands down one of the best that I've seen in this tournament so far. And granted, I've only seen them play the one game, which was tonight, but to me, they are the most cohesive team. They have an opportunity to win it all. I think that looking at the scores and just seeing how UNC struggled, but how they bounced back, Louisville has a chance to beat them. They do. They have a chance to beat them. And then things could look very different, if Louisville gets there. But Louisville also has a history of doing well in the ACC tournament, doing well in the tournaments in general, and doing well with women's basketball. So I think that also helps with their cohesion, their history. Same thing with like Duke. I think Duke is a good team as well. Obviously, they don't hold the number one seed for nothing, but cohesively, Louisville definitely takes the cake for me, just based off sitting and watching all four of these games. I know I mentioned Nyla Harris with her double-double. Toby Fournier had a double-double. Hannah Hidalgo had her 25 points. I said in my pregame that Hannah is averaging 25 points per game, so she's right on target with that. And then McKinley Randolph had a double-double. So a lot of these girls, these standout players, are hitting double-doubles, and they are the battery pieces for their teams. They're the ones who they're looking to perform at every single level. If they're not performing well, the team is probably not going to perform well. There are other players who can pick up the pace and do the things, but when your heart and spirit runs through a single person and runs through that leader of your team, you need your leader to be at their best every single time. Kind of like what Hannah said when she sat down and was like, I just love basketball. I love to win. I want my teammates. I want it to be easier on my teammates. So when I hit the court, I'm always my very best. And she's giving 110%. And you can feel that and you can see that, because when Hannah got hurt, the team was not the same without her. So I definitely think that these women moving into the semifinals are going to be super duper major for each of their teams doing what they need to do. And then looking at the double doubles is what made me look at the box scores. And I'm seeing like, okay, well, what is really going on here? And also feeds my reasoning of why I said Louisville is the most cohesive team. So Duke, looking at Duke's, we're going to start with Duke and we're going to go down because Duke's was the first game. So Duke had 3 players that were in double digits in terms of points. They had a team total of 35 rebounds, 12 assists, but they were 29% from the 3. They were the lowest from the 3-point shot of the 4 teams going into the semifinals. Okay. Notre Dame, they also had 3 players in double-digit points. They had 35 team rebounds, so the same as Duke, 14 assists, and they were 36% from the 3. So Duke and Notre Dame are neck and neck. They're just as good as each other. So that game is really, these games are lined up perfectly. I don't know who did the matchups and things. They knew what they were doing. They understood their assignment. So they're neck and neck when it comes to, as you can see, players with double points, rebounds, assists, shooting from the 3. Okay. And this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Louisville had 6 players in double-digit points. 6. Double Dukes and double Notre Dame's. 6 players in double-digit points. They had 43 23 rebounds, 23 assists, and they were 41% from the three. That is a championship team right there. Just saying. Everybody was eating, okay? And everybody had the same time. Everybody got the same 40 minutes. And this is what they managed to do in the 40 minutes. And this game was not an easy game for Louisville. Syracuse did not let them have it easy. Okay? None of these wins were easy wins. Let me just put it like that. Looking at UNC had 4 players with double-digit points, 39 rebounds, 14 assists, and they were 41% as well from the three. Louisville and UNC are kind of similar. They're a great matchup, a great lineup for them to go head-to-head. But the assists and the rebounds make all the difference, because the rebounds giving you your second chance points. Your rebounds, your offensive rebounds are giving you your second chance points. Your rebounds defensively, you're getting the ball back down. So I hope I said that right. Yeah. So the rebounds make a difference. And the assist, 23 for Louisville, 23. And that's why they have 6 players in double-digit points. Now, I told you, Louisville was coming off. They lost the last 2 of 3 games. So they were trying to like jump back in and redeem themselves, figure out what the heck was going on. What was the problem? I think if they did win those 2 games, their seeding would be a little bit different, because looking at it, their seeding should be a little bit different. Yes, they still were a good seed, high enough, but I feel like, their seeding would have been a little bit different, but everything works out as it's supposed to work out. So tomorrow, these games are going to be hands down, lights out, fast, furious, spunky, funky, pure on dog fights. And that's the type of basketball we love to see. Now, these girls will be tired because Notre Dame is going to be on their 3rd game. Louisville's going to be on their 2nd. Everybody else is going to be on their 2nd. So Notre Dame is going to be the most tired of the teams. So they are really going to have to fight for it. I think they have the energy for it. I think they have the mentality for it. I think they're ready for it. But that just is what it is. They're going to be the most tired. And the way that Duke had to fight against Clemson, I think they're going to start off a little faster than what they did today. And that's going to be one of the deciding factors in this game. I am so excited to get back into these games. Thank you all for watching and keeping up and all the engagement. Make sure you like this video. It is free for you just to like the video. Leave a comment of which team you are rooting for. And heck, if your team got put out, comment that too. Thank you so much. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports. And I'll see you guys on the next one.